Namaste, and welcome to Mind, Body, Strength Online Fitness. My name is Jo, and I'll be leading you today through a series of yoga postures that are done safely and in line with the way that your physical structure, your body, your skeletal structure actually works. So we'll be practicing in line with one of the major guidelines of yoga, and that is a word called ahimsa. And what it means is non-harming. We apply that in our relationships to others, treating them with kindness, but we also apply it in our relationships with our own body, making sure that we don't force it into positions that are painful or could result in injury. There are a few props that I find helpful in doing yoga. So the first one would be the one I'm sitting on, which is a firm folded blanket. So you might have one. Make sure that you're sitting on it. And if you're comfortable sitting in a cross-legged position, if you're not, you may sit on a chair. But sit a little bit forward of your sitting bones. And this will help you maintain the natural curves of your spine, which is the position that best supports you in yoga. Moving on to other props, a couple of blocks here. One is plenty, but these are very helpful in doing poses like forward bends, or sometimes you're sitting in a position where your knees are raised up and you need some support. You can place this under the knee, or you can even use them to sit on. And we'll practice that in a pose a little later on. A belt sometimes comes in handy for leg stretches, or if we're doing a pose called a cow's head pose, where you're reaching your hand behind and trying to grab your other fingers. Most of us can't do that, so we can use a block instead. Finally, certainly not necessary but helpful, is a nice eye pillow to place over your eyes during final relaxation. But if you don't have one of those, a folded washcloth will work just as well. All right. So let's go ahead and begin. And as I said, begin sitting on the edge of a folded blanket and sit slightly forward of your sitting bones. And this will help you to sit taller and to maintain your natural curves, 3 of them in the back, cervical spine at the neck. That one goes in, and then the thoracic spine and the upper back goes out, and then you have a lumbar curve at the waist area, and that curves in again. So we want to maintain those curves. So sitting forward, off the sitting bones helps to do that, and it also helps your breath to flow more freely. And we can actually test that, so let's do that right now. Go ahead and sit back onto your sitting bones, and you see this kind of collapses me a little bit. We'll do the same thing to you, but try taking a nice deep breath. And then sit forward of your sitting bones a bit. Feel a little taller now. And take another nice, slow, deep breath. And you can see how easily the breath began to flow in that position. So while we're on to talking about breath, we'll do a little bit of breathing exercise here. Breathing exercises in yoga are called pranayama, and prana can mean breath or energy, and it also refers to the life force flowing through our body. And when I began practicing yoga, I was taught to do the belly breath, breathing into the belly, letting it expand and contract, but I no longer use that technique because we don't have any lungs in our belly. The lungs are up here, surrounded by the rib cage. So the abdominal area is not really that much involved other than the fact that your diaphragm, which is a dome-shaped organ here that separates the rib cage from the belly. When you breathe in, the diaphragm descends a little bit to make more room in the upper body for your lungs to take in more oxygen. But mainly we're going to focus on the breathing of the lungs. So take your hands and place them on your side ribs. And then go ahead, take a deep breath. Feel the side ribs expand and then relax as you breathe out. And another deep breath in. And then feel the ribs relax as you breathe out. Now, we often think that our lungs are mostly in the front of the body, but actually, we have 60% of our lung capacity in the back body. So bring your hands around now and place them on the back ribs and take a couple deep breaths. And you'll feel the back ribs expanding with your in-breath and contracting with your out-breath. So just let your hands rest for a moment on your thighs. Close your eyes and just take a few deep breaths, feeling the rib cage expand with your in-breath and relax with your out-breath. A couple more on your own. Notice what happens to your body when you focus on your breath. You may find the breath slowing down. You may begin to feel more relaxed. You might find your eyes closing. So let all those things happen as they will. And take a few more calming breaths. Now slowly open your eyes. I'm going to begin some warm-up exercises to prepare the body for our yoga postures. For a moment, let's just take a moment here to stretch out the legs. This is staff pose. It actually is a yoga pose. And you can just press your legs into the floor, press through your feet, maybe just stretch the toes a little bit, get more wiggle. And if you're comfortable, you can stay in this position, or if you want to come back into cross-legged position, which I am going to do, try having the opposite leg in front. This should be this way now. So this will help you keep in balance if you alternate the legs in your sitting postures. All right, so we begin our warm-ups with some nice shoulder rolls. Most of us carry tension in the shoulders, so just nice, easy shoulder rolls. And let's go in the other direction. And let's continue working out tension in the shoulders. So take your left hand, I'm mirroring you now, and kind of cup the hand and then kind of firmly tap on the opposite shoulder. Just a few firm taps, maybe 10 or 12 of them. And then just kind of rub your hand over the shoulder, warming it up. And then go ahead and squeeze. See if you can find any tight muscles in there. And if you can, just squeeze the tension out. I like to think of this tapping on the shoulder as breaking up rocks of tension into little grains of sand, massaging, and then you can just send them away. And let's do the same thing on the other side. So again, cup the hand and firmly tap the shoulder several times. breaking up those rocks of tension. Rub the shoulder a little to warm it, and then see if you've got some tight muscles in there. Just give them a nice squeeze, release, and just squeeze. And then go ahead and come back, relax for a breath or two. So you might find you have a little tension in the back of the neck as well. So we're going to do a move now to help relieve that tension. So we want to begin by sitting very tall with your chin level. And we're going to lower the chin slowly toward the chest, but we're not going to force it. We're not going to bring it all the way to the chest, because if we do that, we lose the natural curves in the spine. So we want to maintain the curves. So go ahead and take a nice deep breath, and then slowly begin to bring your head down far enough so that you can see your mat, but don't force it any further. Stop at the place of first resistance. And then take your hands and clasp your fingers together. Lift them up and place the fingers on the back of the head. And then let your elbows drop. And don't press, just let the weight of your hand, your elbows hanging, and gravity just help your head gently lower, not too far. Take a couple of breaths here. And then go ahead, inhale, and slowly release your hands, take them away, and slowly bring your head back to neutral. And notice the release of tension in the back of the neck. So let's go ahead and begin warming up the rest of the body. So bring your legs out in front, coming back into staff pose. And we're now going to do an exercise that will warm up and lubricate the joints of the shoulders, the elbow, the hips, the knees. So when we move these joints, most of the joints have little sacs of fluid in them called synovial fluid. And basically when we move, we release some of that fluid and it helps lubricate the joints. We're going to work on that next. So go ahead and bend your left leg and hold on to the left foot with the right hand, and then you can hold on to the knee with the opposite hand, or you can place it in the elbow. And then we're simply going to just gently move forward and back like you're rowing a boat, just a few times in one direction, and then go in the other direction. Nice, easy movement. And then place your right hand on the mat for support. Take a hold of the foot with the left hand and extend it up. And now we're stretching the hamstring muscle in the back of the thigh. So hold that for a couple of breaths. Let that muscle begin to stretch. You can keep this knee bent. Leg doesn't have to be straight. And then go ahead, bend the knee. Take hold of the foot again with the opposite hand, and then just gently rock back and forth. Nice, easy hip rock. This is sometimes called the cradle pose. So continue to rock your toe-headed baby here. Now go ahead and release, and we'll do the other side. So bend the right knee, hold on with the left hand, and then just gently begin to row. Nice, easy movement. And we'll change and go in the other direction. And then holding on to the foot, the right foot with the right hand, extend that leg up, stretching the back of the hamstring muscle here. And then back into a hip rock, just side to side. And release the leg. And now let's come on to our hands and knees into table pose. So for table pose, your hands are under your shoulders and your fingers are pointing forward, especially the middle fingers, and your thumbs, the base of the thumb and the base of the index finger are pressing into the floor. Back a little bit so you can see that better. And now we're in table pose. We're going to do cat flow, or sometimes called cat-cow, and this helps to warm up the spine as we continue warming up the body. So begin by your spine in neutral, and take a deep breath in, and on the exhalation, drop your head, and then inhale again, and exhale. Pull your navel in toward your back and begin to tuck the tail, bringing the pelvis forward. Your upper back lifts, coming into a flexion, which is a bending position. And then on the inhalation, the belly relaxes. The sitting bones begin to lift up. You can lift your head a little bit. Now you're going into back bend, an extension position. And then again, exhale and round the back, pulling in the navel first, tucking the tail, letting the head drop, feeling the upper back rising and stretching like an angry cat. And then inhale again, relaxing the belly, letting the sitting bones lift, and allowing the head to lift, not too far, but enough to get a little stretch there. And then come back to a neutral position. And for a moment, just sit back on your heels in firm pose, or some people call this hero's pose. Now, some people find it very uncomfortable to sit back on their heels. So that's something your block will come in handy for. So go ahead and take your block and slide it under your buttocks, under your sitting bones, and then sit tall. And go ahead and turn your palms facing forward. Bring the thumb and forefinger together. And this hand position is called a yoga mudra. Mudra is yoga for the hands. And there's another mudra that's familiar to most yogis, and that's hands at the heart center, or Anjali mudra, which we often refer to as namaste position. But for now, hands on the thighs, thumb and forefinger touching. Lift the gaze slightly. Take a few deep breaths. And affirm, in stillness, I touch my inner strength. In stillness, I touch my inner strength. And take a few more breaths here. This pose is a calming pose. And the mudra has a symbol. The thumb symbolizes the universal spirit. The forefinger symbolizes the individual spirit. And when the two are joined together, it means we're all one. We're all connected. Okay, so let's take the block away. And we'll come back into table pose and prepare for downward facing dog. So again, hands under the shoulders, fingers facing forward, and the base of the thumb and forefinger pressing down to protect the wrist. So take a deep inhalation and tuck your toes under. And then on the exhalation, begin to pull your belly in as you lift your mid-body, your knees come up, and you come into downward facing dog. Your heels reaching toward the floor, they don't have to get there. And the spine is in neutral, neither overly rounded nor overly arched, but in its own natural curves. Stay here for a few deep breaths and affirm calmness radiates through every fiber of my being. Calmness radiates through every fiber of my being. And then inhale and slowly begin to walk your feet towards your hands. So you're in a bit of a forward bend here. So begin to slide your hands up your legs, and when they reach the top of your knees, your thighs above your knees, then press into the thighs with your hands and slowly come up to standing. And we'll now come into mountain pose. So for mountain pose, you want your feet to be parallel. Actually, you want the outside of the feet to be a bit more parallel than the inside of the feet. And for some of you, this might feel kind of funny. You know, I guess if I normally stand and don't think about what I'm doing, I might turn my feet out a little bit. But for mountain pose, for stability, and to maintain the natural curves and the alignment of the body, we want the feet parallel. And then we want to stand tall, so imagine a string on the top of your head lifting you up. And bring your chin back just a little, so everything is in line, your ear with your shoulder, with your hip, with your ankle bone, everything in good alignment. And then check to see if you're tucking your tailbone. And if you are, please stop. Now, I have been in classes where teachers have told us to tuck our tail to protect our back. But if I tuck my tailbone, I actually turn sideways. You can see here I'm in my natural curves. If I tuck my tailbone, then I flatten this lumbar curve. So since the body is most stable in its natural curves, please try not to tuck your tail. So this is one of those situations where it's like your mom telling you to taste the spinach. Try it, and if it doesn't work for you, you can go back to your old way of doing things. Now, place your hands gently on the front of your thighs and just move the front thighs back just a little. And if you suddenly felt a little taller, you may have been actually tucking. All right, so mountain pose. Mountain pose, you want to have your base firm. The mountain is grounded to the earth, so you want to be grounded in this pose. But you also want to feel free enough to feel energy flowing up. So in order to do that, it's important to have the foot position that is right for your body. So I have had teachers tell me to stand with my feet together. Well, if I stand with my feet together, I can feel the energy flow up to the sky. But I also don't feel very stable. I feel like a little bit wobbly here. So I'm going to put my feet a little further apart, keeping them parallel, and see how that feels. So you can go around and just experiment a little bit with the distance of your feet and just feel where it feels right to you. You'll know it when you get there. A lot of times women will have a wider stance than a man does. That's because our hips are wider for obstetric reasons. You know, we have to have room if we plan to have a baby. So our bodies are built for that. So let's pause here in mountain pose. Take a few breaths. Close your eyes if you like. You can stay balanced. And the affirmation, I stand ready to make positive changes in my life. I stand ready to make positive changes in my life. Take another breath. And from here, we're going to do a standing forward bend. Now, of course, we always bend from the hip crease and never at the waist. So I'm going to ask you to taste a little more spinach here. Let's try turning the heels out just a little more and the toes in just a little. And this will help the femurs, the top of the thigh bones. There's a little ball and socket joint here, but that will help the femur neck line up better with the socket of your hip joint. So let's try doing a forward bend this way. So hands on the sides of thighs. Take a deep breath. And exhale, bend forward from the hips, just bringing your belly down over your legs and come down as far as comfortable. This is actually a good spot to use a block. I'm going to start again. I'm going to use my block. So stand tall, eyes are back, bend forward, bringing the belly over the legs. You can just rest your hands or fingertips on the block, and you can adjust the height. If this height's too tall for you, bring it down to its side, or flat position if you're more flexible. So stay here for a couple of breaths. If most of the weight is on your heels now, you can bring some of it forward so it's more easily distributed. Take a few breaths. Notice sensations in your body. If you are feeling discomfort in your low back, then please come up a bit, because that indicates there are hundreds of pounds of pressure on your back. It's just not healthy. So if you're feeling it there, you come down too far. So take a couple breaths. And if for nothing on earth can hold me, nothing on earth can hold me. And then to come out, bring your hands again on your thighs, just above your knees, and press into the thighs, lifting yourself back up and back to mountain pose. And pause here and just notice any sensations in your body. Notice how you're feeling. I'm going to move the block to the side for now. And we're going to do a balance pose called tree pose. Now, if you feel uncomfortable balancing on one leg, you can do the pose against the wall. The hands lightly touching the wall to start. Or if you have a chair handy, you can have that chair handy to hold on to. I'm going to step off my mat for this pose, I think a little bit, if we're doing it on the carpet. So what you want to do first is find a spot that's not moving. You know, something on the wall, maybe this knob here to my closet, or the namaste sign there, something that's not moving. Focus your attention there. And then we're going to shift our weight to the right foot and bring the left foot forward a little. This activates your abdominal muscles. Let them know that you're going to need them to help you balance, because they're stabilizer muscles. And then turn the other foot around and rest the heel against the ankle. Now keep this standing leg very long and firm. Keep the muscles activated and make sure your hips are in a line. So the hip of the bent leg has a tendency to shift up. Try to keep them level. And then bring your hands to the heart center in namaste position. And if you have your balance, you can inhale, reach your arms up. Keep them stretching tall. If you prefer a different kind of tree, you can also open the arms out to the side. Pause here. Slow, deep breath. And affirm, I am calm. I am poised. I am calm. I am poised. And then inhale, stretch. And exhale, slowly circle your arms back down and release the foot to the ground and come back and rest in mountain pose. Noticing any new sensations in your body, noticing how you're feeling. And now we'll do the other side. So shift the weight to the left foot. Again, lift the right leg up a little bit to signal to your abdominal muscles that you're going to be doing a balance pose. Hands in namaste. Make sure that hip's not up. This leg is firm and steady. Muscles activated. And then slowly raise the arms. Coming into tree pose. Breathing. And affirm, I am calm. I am poised. I am calm. I am poised. And inhale, stretch. And exhale. Arms back to your side. And come back and rest in mountain pose. And take a few more breaths. And if you're off your mat, let's step back on the mat. And we're now going to do a gentle back bending pose called Warrior One. And we did a forward bend. We did the balance pose in between, and now we're going to do a back bend. And back bending poses are very important to do when we're getting older because most of us have a tendency to round the back a little bit. You've seen some older women and sometimes men that kind of are walking rounded like that. So we want to do exercises that keep the spine long and prevent that rounding. So let's shift the weight to the right foot. We're going to step the left foot back far enough so that when you bend forward, you're going to be able to feel a stretch in the back calf. So bring your hips around so they're facing forward. Make sure they're level. And then we're going to bend this front knee. And what we want to do before we bend it is to externally rotate this top thigh muscle by rolling it out, and that will keep the knee from rolling in. Your knees are more vulnerable when they're bent. They're most stable when they're straight up and down. And the inner knee is more vulnerable than the outer knee. So we want to be very careful not to let the knee roll in. So let's take a deep breath and exhale, bend the front knee. So shin bone is vertical, and then this knee is not rolling in. You can actually turn that foot out just a little bit too to help keep it from rolling in. And then the hips are forward. We're going to inhale, bring the arms forward, stretch up, reaching. You can let your sit bones lift if they wish. This is a back bending pose. And if it's comfortable, you can even drop your head a little bit, but don't force. Hold here, breathing. Keep the back foot pressing firmly, both feet pressing. And affirm, I am free, I am free. I am free, I am free. And then inhale, stretch. Exhale, slowly lower your arms and step your back foot forward and come back and rest in mountain pose. A few breaths here. And now we'll do the other side. So weight on the left foot, right foot steps, right foot left turns out a bit, and bring your hips back forward. Maybe turn this front foot out a little, again to protect the knee joint. And then inhale and exhale, bend the front knee. Shin bone is vertical. You should still be able to see your toes. And then inhale, reach and stretch. And if you like, you can gaze up if it doesn't bother your neck. Let your tailbone lift a little. And again, affirm, I am free, I am free. I am free, I am free. And then inhale, stretch. And exhale, circle your arms back and step back. And rest for a moment in mountain pose. Slow, deep breaths in and out. And let's now come standing the long way on our mat. We're going to do a side bending pose. We did warrior one. Now we're going to do warrior two. So turn your front foot out and your back foot in slightly, maybe about 15 degrees, and check that the heel and arch are all lined up. And we're going to bend this front knee. So again, we don't want that knee to roll in. So I'm going to turn my front foot out just a little more. And I'm going to go ahead and raise the arms, stretching through the fingers. Take a breath, open the chest, and then exhale, bend that front knee. Shin bone is vertical, you can still see your toes, and the knees pointing more over the middle toe, not toward the big toe. Keep the back foot pressing, weight on the outside of the back foot and the heel, most of the weight on the heel of the front foot. If it's comfortable for your neck, turn your head and gaze out over your arm and affirm, I joyfully manifest the power within. I joyfully manifest the power within. So this pose is a warrior pose based on a warrior named Arjuna, and he was an archer. So you can imagine Arjuna taking hold of his arrow and pulling it back. Let's go ahead and straighten the leg. Turn your feet forward and pause for a moment. Now I'm going to turn the other way on my mat for the other side so that you don't have to look at the back of my head. So again, we're going to separate the feet. Front foot out, back foot turned in slightly, heel and arch lined up, and front foot turned out just a little bit to protect the knee. And then we're going to inhale, reach through the fingers, exhale, bend the front knee. Make sure the shin bone is vertical, knee not rolling in. Keep both feet pressing, activate the thigh muscles, especially in the back leg. Keep reaching through the fingers. A few breaths. Looking over your front arm if it's comfortable. And again, affirm, I joyfully manifest the power within. I joyfully manifest the power within. And inhale, straighten the leg. Lower the arms. Turn your feet forward. And step back into mountain pose. And take a few breaths. Notice how you're feeling. And we're now going to get ready to come down onto our mats, and we're going to do that by doing a few mini sun salutations. So we'll begin with hands at the heart, and then inhale, circle the arms up overhead, reaching, and then on the exhalation, we're going to bend forward from the hips. Now we're coming into a forward bend, so you might want your foot position turned in a little bit if that was most comfortable, and come down only as far as comfortable. Don't risk your lower back. And then inhale and slide your hands up your shins until the back is straight and long. And then exhale, relax back down only to your level of comfort. And then inhale, activate your abdominal muscles as you sweep your arms out to the side, overhead, and stretch. And then exhale, back to namaste. And we'll do that 2 more times. So inhale, circle up, reach and stretch. Exhale, swan dive into the forward bend, coming down to your level of comfort. And then inhale, slide the hands up your shins to a flat back. And exhale, relax back down. Inhale, sweep the arms up, belly is active. Bring the hands overhead, reach tall. And exhale, and hands at the heart. And last one, and this time we'll stay down. So inhale, reach, exhale and fold. Inhale halfway, exhale, fingertips to the mat, then come down on one knee, come down on the other knee, and come back into staff pose, sitting in staff pose. Now might be a good time to have a water bottle to take a drink. It's important to stay hydrated. Make sure you drink a lot after the practice as well. Okay, so we're going to do a simple twist pose, and we're going to begin it by coming down off the blanket if you're sitting one, and just come down onto your right hip, and then the legs are out to the side, and your left ankle is resting in the arch of your right foot. Now, sitting like this, you're probably going to find that your right hip is a lot lower than your left hip, so you can slide a blanket under that hip and bring the hips back to a more level position. Now bring your right hand around behind you, use it to lengthen your spine, and bring your left hand over on the outside of your right knee. And we're going to twist. And when we do that, we want to make sure that the belly and the rib cage are moving together. I was originally taught to move first the belly, and then the ribs, and then the chest. Well, your pelvis and your rib cage are connected, actually in the back, by your sacroiliac joint, which is not a joint of mobility. It's a joint to keep you stable, a joint of stability. So while it allows for a little bit of movement, you probably couldn't walk if it didn't. It doesn't allow for a great deal. So we want to move this part of the body and this part of the body together. You can think about anchoring this pose by pressing the top thigh. Think about pressing the top thigh muscle down. So right hand behind, left hand on the knee, sitting tall. Take a deep breath. Exhale all the air out. Pull in your belly and twist to the right. Deep breath. And then let's try that again. Inhale. Lengthen. Exhale all the air out. Pull in the belly and twist a little more. We'll do that once more. Don't over twist. Listen to your body. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale completely. Pull in the belly and twist just a little more. And now stay here, breathing smoothly. And if it's comfortable to turn your neck to gaze over your shoulder, do so very gently. And affirm, I radiate love and goodwill to soul friends everywhere. I radiate love and goodwill to soul friends everywhere. So inhale, lengthen. And exhale, and slowly release the twist. Come back to center. Straighten out your legs, come off the blanket, and pause for a couple of breaths here. And let's Do the twist on the other side. So now you're sitting on your left hip. The legs are out to the right side. Ankle of the top leg resting in the arch of the foot. And then again, we're going to level up the hips. So now bring the blanket under the left hip so your hips are more level. And then left hand behind you, fingers pressing to keep your spine long, and bring the right hand over to the outside of the left knee. And again, remember to twist the entire body together. So inhale, exhale all the air out, pull in the belly, and twist. And again, deep breath in. Exhale all the air out, pull in the belly, and twist a little more. Last time. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale completely. Pull in the belly and twist. Pause here. And now if it's comfortable on your exhalation, turn your head to gaze towards your left shoulder, breathing smoothly, and affirm, I radiate love and goodwill to soul friends everywhere. I radiate love and goodwill to soul friends everywhere. So inhale, lengthen, and exhale. Slowly come back to a neutral position. Slide off your blanket. And we're going to now get ready for Shavasana, final relaxation. So you want to gather any of the props that you'd like to use for Shavasana. You can use your folded blanket as a pillow. Perhaps if you have another blanket, you can put it under your knees. Or if you're chilly, you can cover yourself. If you have your trusty eye bag or folded washcloth, you can place those over your eyes. So as you're ready, slowly come down into relaxation pose. I'll go down with you, but I won't stay there. I'll come back up after you're settled, because I had a yoga teacher once tell me about one of her early experiences when she fell asleep during Shavasana. And when she woke up, all of her students had tiptoed out and the room was empty. So I don't want that to happen here. So let's go ahead and put your hands behind you and slowly roll down. Place your eye bag over your eyes. I'd recommend if you have glasses, take them off. And then arms out to the side. Make sure your weight is evenly distributed and slide first one leg straight and then the other leg straight. And take a moment to press through your heels, stretching the legs. And then let your legs relax. Let them slowly roll out to the side. And make sure that they're far enough apart so your inner legs aren't touching. And then have your arms a bit away from you, with the palms facing up. Slide your shoulders blades down your back and tuck them under for support and comfort. Close your eyes. Be aware of your breath. Be aware of where you're feeling the breath. Now we'll take a tour through the body's various parts. And as I mentioned, a part of your body, just bring your attention, your awareness to that body part. And that's all you need to do. If you like, you can silently say the name of it. So let's start with the right hand. Right hand thumb, forefinger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky, palm of hand, back of hand, wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, right shoulder, right side of chest, right waist, right side of belly, right hip, right thigh, right knee, right calf, shin, right ankle, right heel, arch, top of foot, ball of foot, big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, little toe. And now the left hand, thumb, forefinger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky, palm of hand, back of hand, wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, armpit, left chest, left waist, left belly, left hip, left thigh, knee, calf and shin, left ankle, left heel, arch, top of foot, ball of foot, big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and little toe. And now bring your awareness to your lower back and focus on right lower back, left, right mid back, and left, right upper back, left, right back of shoulder, left, back of neck, back of head, top of head, forehead, right eyebrow, left eyebrow, right eyelid, left eyelid, right cheek, left cheek, right ear, left ear, tip of nose, upper lip, lower lip, tongue, inside of mouth, right jaw, left jaw, chin, front of neck, and now settle at your heart center, not your physical heart, but the heart chakra, the whirling dervish of energy in the center of your chest, the center of love, devotion, kindness, and focus your attention there. Continuing to breathe smoothly and evenly. I'll repeat the affirmation for Shavasana. You can say it mentally after me if you wish. Bones, muscles, movement, I surrender now. Anxiety, elation, depression, turning thoughts. All these I give into the hands of peace. And rest here, relaxed, calm and peaceful for a few moments longer. I'll ring the bell 3 times to bring you back. And now slowly begin to bring your awareness back to the sensations of your body lying quietly in your room. And begin to gently move your fingers and toes. And then inhale the breath. And as you breathe out, press your lower back into the floor. Turn your legs so your knees directly face the ceiling. And then slowly bring your right leg towards you. And then bend the left leg towards you. Take another inhalation. And on your exhalation, slowly roll to the side of your choice. And linger there for a few breaths with your head resting on your lower arm, folded arm. And just notice how you're feeling. Notice the shape of your body. And when you're ready to come up, using your top hand, press the palm of the hand into the floor and slowly begin to press back up to a comfortable seated posture. And now close your eyes and take 3 slow, deep breaths. And now bring your hands together in front of your heart center. Namaste. Thank you for allowing me to share yoga with you. And please get up slowly if you're ready to move on to your next activity, and try to carry some of the calmness and relaxation you've created for yourself into your day.